Hey everyone, this is Daniel. This is my Gecko update blog for June 29th, 2009. This is going to be the first video in the playlist that I have labeled Daniel's Gecko Updates. Basically this playlist will only consist of updates where I talk about Gecko. By that I mean Firefox, SeaMonkey, Thunderbird, etc. Things that are all things Gecko, basically. Anyway, I got a couple of quick updates I want to try to get to really fast. I will say that those of you who are using Firefox 3.5 Release Candidate 3, the actual release, you're using Firefox 3.5 Final, because according to hg.mozilla.org/releases/Mozilla191, I'll pop that up there too, that way you know exactly how it's typed and everything. If you notice that change set, you'll notice that it's the same change set that was used for Firefox 3.5 Release Candidate 3, and now Firefox 3.5 Final. So, like I was saying, if you're using Firefox 3.5 Release Candidate 3, then you're using Firefox 3.5 Final. Now, what does this mean for SeaMonkey, of course? Well, they'll be getting their first release off of a final Gecko-based version instead of a beta Gecko version. So it looks like SeaMonkey 2.0 Beta 1 is going to be based off of either Gecko 191 Final, or maybe even, dare I say, Gecko 1.9.1.1 Pre. So, we'll just have to see where that goes, but I figure it will be based from Gecko 191 Final, with a few updates to the SeaMonkey side, to Com Central. Anyway, continuing on, what does it mean for SeaMonkey? Well, I do have a couple of updates already from the status meeting that's going to be held tomorrow, because, they've actually posted the status meeting already today, or part of it, I should say. The rest of the status meeting's tomorrow. What I have gathered already is that things on SeaMonkey's end look a lot better than on Thunderbird's end. So, there's even a comment in there that was stated that they could have released SeaMonkey 2.0 Alpha 4 before they landed the new download manager in, and still would have been ready for Beta 1 right now. And so, basically at this point I believe it's picking a date for the code freeze, the candidate builds, and then releasing the final. At least for SeaMonkey's end, that part ought to be pretty easy because, well, it seems like they're just about ready to get Beta 1 out the door, especially now, considering that SeaMonkey 2.0 Alpha 3 is over 3 months old, and some people who have actually been using that release have been getting a warning because their build is too old, even though it is the current SeaMonkey test release, I guess you could say. So, I believe they have fixed that problem, so only the people that are using real old nightly builds are getting that problem now, saying that their build is too old and they need to update. But, expect SeaMonkey 2.0 Beta 1 in a few weeks, and by a few, I would suspect maybe 2 or 3. I can't say much about Thunderbird, though, because I truly don't know. At this point, it's still to be determined. But, I suspect that the code freeze for SeaMonkey 2.0 Beta 1 is likely to come pretty quick, and so with the candidate builds. And I expect by probably mid to late July at the worst, and early to mid-July at best, SeaMonkey 2.0 Beta 1 will be released. But it should not be too much longer, and I hope not. But it'll be ready when it's ready. But with that being said, those of you, I also want to mention, if you're running my June 24th build and have noticed a very bad memory leak, you're not the only one. I have too. I run into this leak while I've been on MySpace listening to music on my playlist, where memory usage will gradually rise. Unfortunately, the rise never stops, and it keeps rising until the program freezes up. And so, I did not see this problem in the June 17th build, but I am seeing the problem in the June 24th build. So, if you are having a problem with my optimized CMonkey build from the 24th when it relates to memory usage, I don't see the problem in the build from the 17th, so you may actually have to go back to it until I get a new build out to see if the problem still exists. I believe that it's just a problem with MySpace in general, because I haven't actually seen this problem on any other site so far. So it may just be something in MySpace's code that CMonkey just doesn't like very well. But not to blame MySpace for anything, but I'm just saying, that's the only site I've seen this problem with. I mean, after all, my computer's a rinky-dink thing by today's standards. Pentium 4, 3 GHz processor, 32-bit, 1.5 gigabytes of RAM. So, I mean, obviously, you know, you can tell when memory usage goes up in a computer like that, because it's going to slow you down, even if you have 1.5 gigs of RAM running on Windows 7. So, I'm just saying that if you have a problem with the build from the 24th, try going back to the one on the 17th. If you do find that same problem with the build on the 17th, go to the one before it, because I know that build doesn't have the problem. I think that may have been the build from the 13th. I'm not exactly sure. But I don't believe the build from the 17th has a problem, but I do notice the problem with the one on the 24th. So the problem, I hope the problem is either Gecko related or a problem with MySpace that, well, CMonkey just doesn't like MySpace. It may be a problem with the memory allocator, but we'll find all that out later on. But yeah, for those of you waiting on CMonkey 2.0 Beta 1, it should not be that much longer, and I will also have my optimized release of CMonkey 2.0 Beta 1 when it comes out. And of course, after that, I am going to be taking a break from the computer and all things weather for a little while, so I can clear my head and reprioritize some things, because, well, things just aren't exactly, you know, working out the way that I expected them to at this point. But enough about that. As I mentioned plenty of times before, Firefox 3.5 Release Candidate 3 is equal to Firefox 3.5 Final at this point. And that is what I've gathered, like I said, from hg.mozilla.org/releases/Mozilla191. But I will have an update tomorrow, and hopefully then I'll be able to tell you when a code freeze date is, and a release date, possibly, for CMonkey 2.0 Beta 1, and maybe even Thunderbird 3.0 Beta 3. But anyway, with all that being said, I am Daniel Jeter, and I will see you next time.
Let me show you just what I'm made of. Simple curiosity, trying to take up my